Shinzo live. We're live. We're going Shinzo. All right. Just gotta wait for everybody to tune in. Welcome to the worst podcast ever. So I will have to definitely do this every week because it's gonna make me think of my friend because she helped me come up with the idea. All right. So hopefully we'll get some people tuning in. I know I'm like 15 to 18 minutes early, but hopefully some people will tune in. I hope. Hey, Crown, how you doing? Welcome to the podcast. This week, we are talking about toxic fandoms, and I'm trying out my other webcam. In case you're wondering why the picture looks different, because it's my other webcam. It's this one. It's this webcam with the lovely specs that are backwards, backwards for me, but it's full 1080p video up to 1920 by 1080 pixels. It can do 1080p recording, built-in noise isolation microphone, which I'm not using because I like my microphone better. Automatic low light correction, which I could probably get away with my other lighting again, but I don't want to because that makes it really warm in here. It's plug and play and tripod, and it does fit on my tripod, and I do love this thing. But, yep. But tonight it is Toxic Fandom Night. We are talking about toxic fandoms here on the podcast tonight. And in case anybody wonders, there's a lot. There is a lot of toxic fandoms. But before we get started, in case you're wondering what's up with my wrist, hey, Alter, you're not late. You're just. I actually started early tonight, so you're plenty good. I just want to explain something before I go into the podcast tonight, which is kind of like the pre-start for it. But if you're wondering what's up with my wrist, so I have a pink. This is actually a hair tie. It's a really long one, like a really wide one, and then a regular hair tie. So if you've ever had to do that stupid little exercise where you're supposed to put a rubber band around your wrist, and if you get really angry, annoyed, or you think of something that's distracting, yes, this will include Sonic fandom. Basically, if you think of something or you do something that's distractive or annoying or something that you're not supposed to think about, you pull the rubber band and you snap it against your wrist. It's supposed to be like a negative reinforcement to tell you to stop doing it. So that every time you think about that, you will just remember the snapping pain on your wrist from the rubber band. I had to do that in school for if you got really angry, really annoyed, and I did it when I was in tech school because I was part of the class we had to do it in for the day. But with everything that happened with my friend, and because I'm trying to heal from it, I figured I would just do that this week. And I should say, because I can't wear this to work, unfortunately. I could probably wear the hair tie on my wrist. I don't think they would notice it, but I can't wear this. And the only reason why I'm wearing this is so that it's a little more comfortable because it does hurt a bit. But that's why I'm wearing this. So if you see me snapping this against my wrist, that's because my mind's thinking of my friend, and this is my way to not think about her, so I can let her go. But all right, like I said, tonight we are talking about toxic fandoms. So let's get into this. Yes, this includes, like I said, it does include the Sonic fandom. Top 10 things wrong with the Sonic fandom. There's a lot. If you want like my top 10, they take it way too seriously. They treat it like it's a holistic god, like Sonic is the greatest game in the world, but there have been other games. But there are loads of things. Yes, basically any fandoms. We're talking any and all fandoms. It can range from anime fandoms, cartoon fandoms, live action fandoms, video games, you name it. That's what we're talking about tonight, is toxic fandoms. Disney fandom, definitely. Undertale fandom, yes. Which is more toxic, though, Marvel or DC? I think they're both equally kind of sludgy, to be completely honest. They're both kind of sludgy, in a way. I have my bottle of water down here. But they're both kind of sludgy in their own way. They both kind of suck. But, I mean, that's just I mean, with Disney fandom, the problem is that everything Disney related, it's looked upon like the House of Mouse just decided, "Oh, we wanna buy this." Like, "Oh, we're buying this property." And yeah. No, the Disney fandom doesn't take the public domain, too seriously. Disney takes the public domain too seriously. If something was Disney related and it's set to go into the public domain, they get antsy about it. They get uppity. They get pissy because it's something that they can't make money on anymore. I'm sorry, I'm chewing some gum yet. I tried a diet thing with my water earlier, and I'm using the gum to get the taste out of my mouth because it tastes like crap. There we go. I had to swallow it. But no, Disney themselves take the public domain way too seriously because for them, if something goes to public domain, they can't make money off it. Hence why they always like I don't have to worry about like they always reboot something, they always come up with a different idea for a franchise because oh look, I could make $5 off of this right now. That means that they're making money as long as they make something and they renew the IP. But yeah. I won't deny that there are things in anime that should not be a thing, but you also have to realize that a lot of the stuff that people complain about, hey Optimus, a lot of stuff that people complain about with anime being like what shouldn't exist exists in other medium as well. You have fan service. Fan service has existed in everything. It exists in cartoons, it exists in the real world. Basically fan service is softcore porn. It's what you can basically have on television at any point in the daytime. Even prime time is basically softcore porno. And that's what fan service is. That's basically softcore porn. High school is a softcore porno that you're trapped in for 4 years. So trust me. Yes, but greetings to Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots. But yes, do I think the Winnie the Pooh fan have been too harsh on I don't think they have been too harsh on it. I think they haven't been harsh enough. Yes, I know it went to the public domain. Yes, I know it is basically nothing like what the original is, but to be fair, you can't expect the original to exist without having some liberties taken. I mean, if it's in the public domain, it's going to become the public domain. Look at Pinocchio. Pinocchio's in the public domain because everybody has been making movies about it. So it's just a matter of who does it and why. That's sort of the main issue. But yes, Optus, I will agree. Thomas the Tank Engine is a prime example of a toxic fandom. Big time. Oh yeah, the FNAF fandom. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Better yet, if you want anything about FNAF, go talk to Matt Pat, the guy that does game theory, because that's his baby at this point. When it comes to theories and the fandom, he's basically the go-to god for them. Anything he says is like gospel to them. But yes, I will agree with the fandom though for FNAF. But then again, that one has multiple branching paths. If you want to consider that like a religion, there's like 8 different versions of it. Kamikatsu. I'll have to look that one up. I've never heard of Kamikatsu yet. But then again, I did kind of fall off the anime bandwagon for a little bit. Don't want to knock my microphone. I did kind of fall off the anime bandwagon. I actually have to look that one up because I have not heard of Kamikatsu. But yeah, I did kind of fall off the anime bandwagon for a little bit when I lost internet for a few days. I kind of lost track of stuff. Try that. Oh, okay. Working for God in a godless world. Interesting. Hey, Common. Hey, Ginger. How's everybody doing? Oh yeah, My Little Pony fandom. Oh god, I forgot about them. Well, to be fair, it's not that they get it's not that they're toxic, it's they get defensive. Like massively defensive. Very quickly defensive. Like massively defensive. God forbid. Crown, I really don't know how to answer that. To be honest, female Transformers weren't exactly a massive thing in the original animated series. It didn't become a thing until after the movie came out. Actually, it was like a little bit beforehand because the one writer's daughter was actually getting into Transformers. She thought it was kind of interesting, and he was going to die on the hill of there will be a female Transformer in this movie. And there was. That's how we got RC. Oh, okay. All right. I had to look up what that kamikatsu was. All right. That looks all right. Interesting. Yeah. To be fair, though, there are a lot of obscure anime, but yeah. The Invader Zim fandom is they're not really toxic. I want to say they are more defensive. But to be fair, they are diehard fans. Happy comic book day to you too, Common. I actually forgot it was comic book day. I could have went to my local comic book store and got a free comic book, but the last time I went there for a free comic book, you get one comic book for free. If you want more than one comic book on their free pile of comic books, you need to pay. You get one for free. The other ones cost you a quarter. After that, I said no. I don't really think Skylanders has a toxic fan base. I think it's more of they really wanted something better for the game and the characters, and they just didn't get that, unfortunately. Oh, Transformers fans. Okay. Um okay, now I got your crown. Okay, you meant Transformers fans. Um Technically, like I said, there were female Transformers in the animated series. It was in season 2. You had the introduction of Alita 1. You had her other subordinates under her. We had RC in the Transformers movie in 1986. We have had female Transformers since then, like Black Arachnia, Air Razor. In fact, they actually shared a relationship in a way in Kingdom, which pissed a lot of people off. But Transformers fans, though, I will say this: the Transformers fandom can be a little toxic, mostly because they will go nuts when it comes to certain aspects of their series, of their franchise. They will go a little annoying. They can get a little nuts. I actually hope Rise of the Beast is going to be pretty cool because, in all honesty, I actually am hoping that succeeds. I don't know how well it's going to do, but I'm hoping it does well. I really am. I want to say they have been fairly harsh on it. And to be fair, I will throw myself into that too. I thought it was a good series when it started. It just kind of it was an off-brand Pac-Man, which is fine because Pac-Man can have different adventures. You had Pac-Man. There was an animated Pac-Man like years ago. There was a Saturday morning cartoon. In fact, they actually made a Christmas special that if you ever grew up in the 90s watching Cartoon Network, you probably watched at least once or twice. I do remember watching it. It basically Pac-Man had to try to find power pellets and save the world, and oh yeah, it was a weird series. Ghostly Adventures wasn't bad. It was definitely a step up. It's sort of I sort of consider that like Thundercats 2011, where it's definitely an improvement from the original, but at the same time, it wasn't much of an improvement. But yeah, I'm on the camp that I hate SpongeBob, so I could really care less about the fandom. I am not a fan of SpongeBob, nor will I ever be a fan of SpongeBob. And the day I become a fan of SpongeBob is the day you know I had brain damage, because I will never be a fan of SpongeBob. I hate that piss colored tampon alternative. I really do. I'm sorry. I just do not like him. That's true. They have opened up a lot of barriers. And they're not the only ones, because there are a lot of other ones too that have started cracking open barriers with the Transformers. I know IDW did like a whole bunch of comic books. There was a lot written overseas. In fact, there was an alternate story to how RC was created. If I remember watching, it's Chris Feely's videos. He does the basics on, which are really good, by the way. Go check those out. But the one there was a oh god, what was it? Oh, it explained how RC was created, and in that universe, basically in that continuity, RC was a male robot that was forcibly changed into a female robot. So yeah, if you actually look it up, it's there are a lot of weirdness in that. But they that opened up a lot of floodgates long before anything else. Yes, Ginger, the former Twilight fan base was toxic as hell. They were poison. It's like, oh, but Team Jacob, Team Edward, I'm Team I don't care because I hate both of them. As far as I'm concerned, both characters suck. I'm not picking a side. I remember going to the movies when that was still going on, and a lot of people were like, "Are you Team Edward or Team Jacob?" I'm Team I don't give a damn. I'm going to watch something else. They're like, "Oh, no, not on our team, not on mine either." Yeah, I'm not. I don't like Twilight. I never liked Twilight. I hated it. I do not like Chris Evans. I do not like Chris Evans at all. Because Chris Evans played Captain America, and I'm not a Captain America fan. Fact to be, Captain America doesn't even crack my top 20 of Marvel characters that I like. Iron Man's number one. Things should be obvious. I have Iron Man crap all over the place. I am an Iron Man nut. I have a container of 3.25 inch or 3.75 inch Iron Man figures. I have a giant 5 inch or 5 or 6 inch Iron Man figure. I have an Iron Man flash drive. I am an Iron Man fan. I am more an Iron Man fan than I am a Captain America fan. But yeah. I only saw a couple episodes of Sonic Boom, so I really can't say whether or not they were too harsh on it. Personally, for me, I kind of felt like it was a weird, and I mean the weird sort of Sonic, but at the same time, I remember Sonic Underground. And if you remember Sonic Underground, trust me, the fans were not as harsh with Boom as they were with that. That was just weird and unusual. So, I mean, now if you really want to take Sonic fandom, how about Sonic Unleashed? Remember the game where he became a werehog? Yeah, I couldn't even beat that game. I remember playing it. I couldn't beat it. So, yes. Yes, Alter, this will also include hate thumbs as well. Basically, any toxic fandom, that's what we're talking about this week. Wait, he had respect? I'm sorry, comment. He had respect? when did Chris Evans have respect? When did Chris Evans ever have respect? Oh, maybe when he was playing Johnny Storm in the first two Fantastic Four movies. Not after he became Captain America. I had no respect for the man then. Then again, I'm not a Captain America fan. I do not like Captain America. He's just a discount Superman. He is discount Superman in the worst way. That's why I'm Team Iron Man. When they had Civil War going and you had to pick a side, were you Team Iron Man or Team Captain America? I'm like, oh no, I am Team Iron Man, 100%. Because I want the cool tech. I want the gadgets. I have to sign my life away to get those. Where do I sign? I'm sorry, where do I sign to have the billionaire genius playboy philanthropist build me fun toys? I will go with this team more so than that team. Sorry. I'm just all for that. Yes, a lot of people have gone woke. I know a lot of people are accusing me of that too. But to be fair, I did not go woke. I'm just finally living the way I want to live. Well, right now part-time because I don't want to come out fully at my job because I kind of want to get the hell out of my job before I actually start living full-time as Jessica. But for now, I get part-time Jessica, which is weekends. Iron Man Armored Adventures. Spectacular Spider-Man isn't bad, but while I did like it, first off, I did. Oh, bye, Alter. Sorry, you gotta go. At least thanks for hanging out though. Spectacular Spider-Man was good. I will not deny that. Spectacular Spider-Man was good. I did like Spectacular Spider-Man. But Iron Man Armored Adventures was really, really good. I mean, really good. If you're an Iron Man fan, that was basically an upgraded version of the Invincible Iron Man that we had back in the 90s, which was really interesting at the time. But Spectacular Spider-Man was not bad. It was a very, very good show. I actually did like it. There's one episode of that one I actually do like. It was the school play one where the Green Goblin is screwing around with the prison. Spider-Man has to try to break out of said prison. That's one of my favorite episodes because it's literally playing a Midsummer's Night Dream out while they're doing the episodes. Like everything's kind of falling in place with A Midsummer's Night Dream, which is actually one of my favorite. It's actually one of my favorite movies. Have I watched it? Yes, I actually have. Somebody had it up on YouTube. I got to catch it one time before YouTube took it down, but I have seen the movie. It is one of my favorites. The play itself, to a point, but I really do. I do like A Midsummer's Night Dream. It is one of my favorites. Just for how outlandishly weird it is. Yes, we are talking toxic fandoms tonight here on the worst podcast ever. I have to remember every time I mention that because my friend gave me the idea for the name and I have to snap my wrists so that I don't think of her. Yes, I was telling everybody at the start, in case you're wondering what's up with this for the latecomers, because of the crap that happened about a month ago with my friend, where I told her how I felt, right as she got a girlfriend, and I'm trying to let my feelings for her go and move the hell along with my life. I'm doing the negative reinforcement. I did have this on just against my wrist yesterday. Today today I have it covered with this to make it a little more comfortable, but still hurts. Hey, Video Bird, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the podcast. I think that would make a really cool crossover. Unfortunately, I know Spectacular Spider-Man won't be coming back because they had Spider-Man Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and another one that they came out with where Drake Bell was Spider-Man. He was the voice of Spider-Man, which, let's be honest, that's never happening again. I don't even know, did they ever find him? I know he was missing near a high school. Did they ever find him? Is he still MIA? I never saw what happened with that. But yes, as far as that's concerned, I don't see that. I don't see it ever really coming back. So that's something else entirely. But I do think that those two series would make a great crossover. It honestly it would, because there was a Tony Stark in um the later Spider-Man one. So this would definitely be like, hey, look, here's Spider-Man meeting a younger Tony Stark from a different dimension. I think that would make a really cool crossover. I really do. They did find him. Oh, damn. Where was he? just out of curiosity. Did they find him in a bar or something? I didn't know if they found him or not. All I remember is that I saw he was missing, and then I was off of Twitter for like a day, and I didn't hear anything, and I didn't care. Well, video, there are a lot of toxic fandoms. You have the Rick and Morty fandom. You have the Saturday Night Live fandom. You have anime fandom. Pick your poison with that one. Like the Pokemon franchise, um, the Dragon Ball franchise. You have, I think he's in a car. I think, well, I would assume he's in a car. I thought maybe like a brothel, but okay, car works too. But yes, there are a lot of toxic fandoms. Pick your poison. There are so many of them. Power Rangers definitely, because you have the Power Rangers one can actually be broken down into two different versions. But no, sorry, three versions. You have the fans of the original Fox era. You have the fans of the Disney era. And you have the Neo Saban era. Even now with the Hasbro era, so you technically have four different ones, and all four of them can clash. They are all toxic in their own right. But yes. The Star Trek fandom is pretty much where it started. You have Next Generation versus the original series, Deep Space Nine versus Voyager. You have the fans of all those. Then you have the ones that are just the fans of everything that keep picking fights and throwing gasoline onto these small little fires. Like, oh, well, if Captain Kirk would have done this and this, Captain Kirk always violated the Prime Directive. You take that back. He violated it whenever it suited him. And it's true. He really did. Okay, Crown, why do I think the Batman fandom is toxic? I'm curious to see if you're right. Why do I think the Batman fandom is toxic? I'm kind of curious if you're right. I really am. I'm curious if you're right. Water bottle. I'm just gonna put it on the table. I'm curious if you're right. I really, really am. I'm curious if you're right. I actually like the Loud House, and this is why I like the Loud House. Anything that can dance against SpongeBob and beat it, in my book, gets my support. I don't care if the series was god awful garbage. I will defend the Loud House. I will die on that hill because that dance with SpongeBob and lived. It came out on top for a short time. And now they don't even have any new episodes. They're not even running reruns of it. So Nickelodeon's basically killing the Loud House so that they can get everything. I did check out Trek Yards. I watched, I think, like two videos. They are pretty good. I did watch like a Trek Culture though too. So there are a lot of them. If you ever really want, I mean, like if you ever really want to see like toxic fandoms at work, go to a Star Trek convention or just read horror stories on the Reddits of Star Trek conventions. Believe me, you will have a perfect representation of a toxic fandom just from those alone. Nope, that's not. Well, the Batman fandom is toxic, yes, because they think he can beat everything. But the problem is, and here's the thing, Batman's not a hero. He's basically an anti hero. He fights crime by being a vigilante. He's respected by the police, but he still goes out and does illegal searches and seizures. Basically, anything that he captures, they legally could not hold. That's the problem. He has to present them the evidence. Every single criminal that Batman has brought into justice could walk out on a technicality in like 5 seconds. Yeah, you're right, video. He's not a superhero. He is, yeah, he's just a millionaire playing hero. I gave up counting how many powers Superman has. I, I stopped counting that a long time ago. The man went up against Doomsday. Literally, it's called Superman Doomsday, where Superman dies. In the graphic novel, he dies. That's it. End of Superman. What does that animated movie do? No, Superman doesn't die. His body goes into a basically a catatonic state where his heartbeat and his pulse drop to immeasurable levels. And that's how he stays until his body repairs itself. They MacGuffined him to be essentially immortal. When you give a superhero immortality and you have them be the strongest hero alive, you have lost any confidence I have that you know what you're doing, retconning it or not. Yeah, I can understand why it would be hit or miss. Like I said, I only watched a couple of their videos so far, so I could understand why it's hit or miss. I watch Trek Culture a lot, so and Trek Culture is the same people that do What Culture, Who Culture, and things like that. So it's basically the same thing. But yeah, that is true. Batman will not kill. That is true. Because in Batman Beyond, and this is ironic because I like the animated series Batman and I like Batman Beyond. I am not a fan of the live action stuff, save for the live action Batman and Robin, but that was because it had my favorite Batman villain, Mr. Freeze. Sorry, I love Mr. Freeze as a villain. He's a character. I just like that one. But there was in Batman Beyond, the original, the very first episode of Batman Beyond, when Batman's using the new suit, his heart starts giving out on him. And he actually has to violate his own credo of I will never use a gun because he had to try to use the gun to scare off the would-be criminal so that he could escape. And after that, he vowed never again, which was a good idea because you had no choice. But I kind of like Batman Beyond a little more because you had Terry McGinnis taking over as Batman. This is basically, I'm now in the mentor role. You're the next Batman. What he should have kind of did with Robin, instead of having Robin be Robin, it's like, hey, you're now Batman. I'm going to sit back here in my chair and just relax. I have $1 billion company to run in the middle of a town that's stuck in the fucking 1920s. I'm gonna stay here. Yeah, like I said, Superman has way too many powers. So technically, um, him turning the world around and reversing it to save time, he only really did that in the first movie, in the first Christopher Reeve movie. I have not seen him do that in any of the animated stuff unless he did it in the comics, but the comic books gave him he could invent new powers in the early comics whenever he needed. Like he could spin his arm really fast and make a twister. He could flick his fingers to make a sonic boom. He could invent powers on a whim. Oh, today I want to be able to, leap 50 feet in the air and not have to and only use my toe. Okay, I've done it. He can invent new powers every 5 seconds. But yes, he could basically. Well, technically, anybody could survive an earthquake depending on where it is and where you are in reference to it. If you're inside of a building, technically anybody could survive an earthquake. Most people actually do. Most of the deaths in earthquakes are usually a result of something collapsing on top of you, being in an accident, or an explosion if a gas line goes off. That's cool. Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of people. You'll basically start to lose like respect for people because they might come off as one way and they're not that way. But yeah. Yeah. See, that's the problem. A lot of stuff, like if you hear something about somebody, unless you hear it right from the horse's mouth, it's I would always take it with a grain of salt because a majority of the time it could just be somebody spreading crap just to try to discredit them. Like for years, there was a YouTuber that was claiming that, this YouTuber assaulted them. Like this YouTuber particularly came to their place, assaulted them, beat the crap out of them. And that YouTuber ended up basically dropping off I don't remember the name anymore, but they just dropped off the face of the earth. And it turned out none of it was true. The person never even knew where this YouTuber lived. There was like no way they knew them. And it's like, oh no, but I know this YouTuber. No, they didn't. True, but the thing is, not everybody ever gets shelter in an earthquake. If you ever lived out in California, they can have earthquakes really quickly. Most of the time, you just crawl under a desk or you brace yourself in a doorway. That's what you're supposed to do because the doorways are always going to withstand. I actually volunteered at a fire company and I remembered asking this when the Oklahoma City bombing happened. I was in kindergarten when that happened. And I remember asking my aunt how those people survived, and she explained it to me. So basically, how the rubble fell, the part they were in, the rubble fell on top of it like a triangle. So they basically had a pocket where they were able to stay. They had to work quickly to get them out without causing the rubble to move. But as far as earthquakes go, you can stand in an earthquake. Like if you're out in the open, you can stand and survive it. You're just going to feel like a shake. We actually had a small earthquake here years ago. We felt the shockwave from the one that hit, I think it was like around Washington or West Virginia. We felt that up here. And I remember I was laying in my mom's bed because I was watching her TV because I was checking. I was checking on something for her to see if it was working. I was figuring I'll just lay here for a little bit while I'm fixing it because better than just sitting. I'm laying and I all of a sudden I felt like the bed shake. I noticed her keys were jingling against the wall and then it stopped. Depending on where you are in the earthquake, you can technically survive it just by standing there. It just depends on where you are. So long as you brace yourself in something, you'll be fine. But yes, you're gonna have some type of shelter, everything else. It's not like it's raining fireballs. The earth's just shaking underneath you. You can technically survive that. In all honesty, the earth's moving underneath us all the time. We just don't feel it. Like we're basically moving at the same speed that the earth is. When you have the tectonic plates that will hit one another and create the earthquake, where they're rubbing up against each other, that's what causes the earthquake. So it's basically, consider it this way. Imagine you're driving down the roadway and somebody else is coming against you in the same lane. It's basically like that. You're going to hit each other. It's going to cause an impact. With these, they're going to hit each other and it's just going to rub and it's going to shake the ground. That's basically all it is. Now, so long as they don't go up like this and create a volcano, then we're fine. True, Batman needs plot armor to survive everything. Every single time. I have never seen Batman ever just say, "Oh, well, I managed to do this, that." Look at the Simpsons actually made a really good joke about this. And ironically, in my favorite episode of The Simpsons too, Large Marge, they made a joke about this because Milhouse and Bart accidentally watched an old Krusty the Clown cameo episode of the original Batman series. And back then, that would be the one where Adam West was Batman, which honestly is not that good of a series. No offense to the Batman fans. But he played Clownface. He trapped Batman and Robin on a carousel, and he was spinning the carousel around. And Batman goes, "We're literally about to blush ourselves to death." All of a sudden, they cut away to Bart and Milhouse talking, saying, "Hey, we should try that at school tomorrow." We turn back, and Batman and Robin are out of it. And off of his belt, he pulls out a carousel reversal spray, with Krusty literally making the joke, "What don't you have in that belt?" Was basically anything Batman needs to solve, it's in his belt. It's like the Mary Poppins bag. Like, oh, I need to, like, oh, I have shark repellent in my belt. You live in Gotham City, a landlocked city. The last time I checked, there was no lakes, there was no oceans in Gotham City. All of a sudden, I have shark repellent spray. Why do you have shark repellent if you live in a city? You protect Gotham City. Unless sharks are in your sewer system, which is a bigger problem that you can't handle, that you call animal control, you have no sharks. I have, a putty that can cut through anything. Any little solution he needs, it's in his damn belt, basically. The utility belt of Mary Poppins bags. That's basically what it was. Well, that's the thing. Everybody's going to say something that not everybody will agree with. I could probably say something that somebody would think is wrong in their opinion. And that's just it. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions. We are human, we are sentient. The last time I checked, we all know where we are, we all have intelligence, and we are all cognitive. So we're conscious in even the smallest degree. If you've ever seen The Measure of a Man episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, you know what I mean. But yeah, it's basically, you know, everyone's conscious. Everyone's going to have their own opinions. Well, to be fair, if a building is falling on you and you're outside in the middle of an earthquake, one, that building was not well constructed. Or two, that was a powerful ass earthquake, in which case you're on the ground either way. If we're talking like a solid 10 on the Richter scale, your butt's on the ground. You're not moving, period. Like, you start feeling that your balance is gone. Because how balance will work is there's a small amount when you look in your ear basically goes into this little fluid chamber. There is a bit of fluid in your ears, in the inner ear. That's what keeps you balanced. If you ever have an ear infection, that's what messes with your balance. You're usually off balance if you ever have an ear infection. I know, I had one. Basically, you will feel off balance because your body can't keep the pressure right. That's why you have two different, it's the same thing on both sides. Is what keeps you balanced. If one's overfilled, you're going to lean one way and vice versa. Basically, spin around in a circle like 6 times really fast and then try to stand. You're going to be dizzy. If you're outside in an earthquake that's powerful enough to bring down a building on top of you, and you're outside, mind you, one, the building either wasn't very well constructed or it was a powerful earthquake. We're looking at anything at least 7 or higher on the Richter scale. At that point, though, you're on the ground because your body is now going like this. You don't know what's going on. You're down on the ground. Like, there is no argument there. And you also have to remember, Superman's a comic book character. Basically, he's an animated superhero. He could basically stand out in the middle of space without a spacesuit. And then there are times when he needs a spacesuit. No, seriously. In the animated Superman series, there was a toy where he's in a spacesuit. And yet, in some games and movies, he can go around the entire Earth and reverse the rotation. You'd have to be in the upper layers of the atmosphere to do that, first off, or even in space to spin it around fast enough. 1. 2, he can stay in space and not die. I'm sorry. It's complete total BS. The man has more plot armor than anything else. I can survive anything because I'm Superman. I'll take on Doomsday and I'll still survive because I'm Superman and plot armor will protect me. The Disney fandom is toxic, and they are toxic for a majority of reasons. The first one being that they definitely do not like when people don't take their stuff seriously. Or if, oh, I will throw Wander Over Yonder into this because that was a series that Disney did really well. And I mean, really, really well. But Disney shoved that thing over to Disney XD where it died. It never had a chance to survive there. The fandom for it was pissed off about it, but yet the fans of Disney were like, oh no, that was a bad show. They threw it over there because that's where it belonged. Because they only want wholesome stuff on Disney, or they want stuff that meets their criteria. They're the ones that Disney basically likes to pander to. And then you have the fandom for the ones shows that keep getting thrown to the wayside. Nickelodeon has the same thing. So does Cartoon Network. True, they are all comic book characters, but there is to a point some reality in comic books. Like, okay, you can have explosions that happen with certain things being done. That is possible. Mythbusters has proven that left, right, and sideways multiple times. You can have moments where, okay, I'm not going to say anybody can control squirrels with their mind, but if there's like an animal tamer out there, they might have squirrels as pets. There are people that do have squirrels as pets that they breed. Why, I don't know, but there are some that do that. So Squirrel Girl could technically be real. There are megalomaniacs, like what Thanos is based off of. You do have people that are like that. Look back in the history books. There were tremendous amounts of people like that. It's just the suspension of disbelief has to be this high, whereas a majority of the stuff that they're talking about is down here. So, like, here's where the normal level is, but here's where they're putting their characters. This is a suspension of disbelief. Like, okay, so Superman can survive anything. Yeah, so could most people given certain circumstances. That's my point that I'm making. I'm not trying to be insensitive or anything. I'm just saying that, yes, I will agree that Superman can survive anything, but at the same time, it makes sense to a point. It's not perfect point, mind you, but to a point, it makes sense. If if that if that helps at all. Yeah. Like I say, you just have to suspend disbelief, basically. Like I said, you could technically survive an earthquake. I mean, they tell you how to. If you're in California, one of the things you're supposed to do if there's an earthquake is get under a doorway. You brace yourself like this against the sides because the doorway will keep you safe. If the stuff falls on top of you, you're in the doorway. The doorway won't crumble. If you've ever seen like explosions where like the house is gone, the doorway, the door frame's usually still there. You're supposed to put like a door, like go into a door frame. For tornadoes, you get to the lowest level of the house. The reason why is because if anything comes down on top of you, it'll be like the upper layers. You in the basement, you'll be fine. It's stuff like that, basically. But yeah, it's just the suspension of disbelief in a way. I mean, to be fair, they are working on like Iron Man suits. So we're starting to get the suspension of disbelief coming down to normal levels, depending on where they are. And even going one step further, because I did bring this up with a friend of mine, because years ago we were discussing Captain America, and she was huge in the comics. She used to sell them at conventions and go to conventions and stuff. And we were talking about this, and she said, well, she didn't understand why Captain America came out when he did, basically like the comic book series. And she's like, this, and this. And I'm like, super soldier serum? Because back in World War II, they were experimenting with a serum to try to make soldiers stronger, faster, and more agile because they wanted an upper hand. Hence how we got steroids. It's basically stuff like that. So the suspension of disbelief does kind of come down sometimes, but a majority of the time it's still up here. So, yeah. But yeah, we're talking toxic fandoms yet tonight. I'm having a blast so far. I'm giving you lessons, and I'm really educating people tonight. I'm really having fun. And I do still like my new earrings. I love these things. Little gamer, my little video game controller earrings. I love these things. They're some of my favorites. I mean, all right. So let's go like an anime fandom one. It's like you have the Sword Art Online fandom, basically. And Sword Art Online fandom is definitely something that is toxic to a point. And the reason why is because it becomes more like a harem. And that is the main issue that a lot of people have. Oh, well, Kirito constantly gets every single girl to fall for him. Well, yeah, I won't deny that. But at the same time, you also have the other side of the fan, like, well, this is mostly just like an action MMORPG where he's just playing the role. You have two sides of the same coin. The problem is that one side will always be louder than the other. That's the thing with toxic fandoms. There's always two sides to it. The problem is one side will scream louder than the other side, then the other side will try to scream louder than that side. It's always a to and fro, which is annoying, I won't lie, but it does happen, which can get a little cumbersome, like in a lot of cases. But yeah. I mean, even The Simpsons have a toxic fandom now because you have the fans of the original series up to season nine's The Principal and the Pauper, where they're like the classic Simpsons are the better ones. And then you have the newer ones for like the newer seasons where they're like, this is the better Simpsons. And everybody's like, no, 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 this isn't the better Simpsons. The better Simpsons was the pre this one. You have like the post season nine, which is the new Simpsons, or the original Simpsons. Now you even have the newer Simpsons that hate on both of those. So even they have a toxic fandom. I mean, even Rick and Morty has a toxic fandom tremendously. I mean, Rick and Morty, Sonic the Hedgehog, even The Legend of Zelda and Mario. Nintendo properties are guilty of this too, especially the Mario Brothers. I mean, look, I will never deny I badmouthed the hell out of that movie when it came out, the first one. Or, no, not the first one. I actually like the first one, but I complained about how I thought the new Super Mario Brothers movie was going to be. I did a rant video on it, so it makes sense. Oh my. I'm just putting up on Twitter. I'm still live in case anybody wants to come in. But yeah, will I admit that I was wrong? Well, I haven't actually watched the new Super Mario Brothers movie, so I can't say whether or not it was good because and while I actually did almost go like 2 Saturdays ago to go see it, almost, I decided not to in the end. But it has done extremely well. So it obviously was not the bigger flop that I thought it was going to be. People did find joy in it. Now you're going to have the people like me who weren't exactly too fond of it from the get-go. Do I think it's weird? Yes. Do I think it's something that I would not want to watch? If it comes up on a streaming service for free for me to watch with ads, yeah, I'll watch it after the hype goes. Like the hype's died down, I'll watch it. Sure. Is it something that I would pick up on like DVD if it's like $5? Maybe. Am I going to go spend $30 to go see it in the theater? Absolutely not. It's kind of like that. I'm never going to deny that I think casting was weird for it, and I'm part of that fandom where I thought the casting was weird. I was not cool with that. Look at Lightyear. Did I mind the plot of Lightyear? Yes. Did I hate that they had Chris Evans as the voice of Buzz Lightyear? Abso-fucking-lutely. Was I annoyed as hell with how it went? You better believe it. Am I going to badmouth the entire franchise because of it? No. If they would make a second Lightyear movie, which let's face it, they're never going to do because that thing tanked and it crashed and burned faster than Hindenburg, there is no way that I would be upset about it. Let's, flesh it out a little bit, explain a little more, answer the questions that weren't answered in the first movie, and we'll be fine. Otherwise, yes, I will find it annoying as all hell. I will find it cumbersome. I will find it stupid. I will find it insulting. You cannot change my mind on that. Now, that being said, am I going to say without a doubt, well, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. This entire movie franchise can just blow off? No, because I'm not that insensitive of a jerk. Am I going to badmouth it? Absolutely. Do I hate the premise of it? Absolutely. Am I still pissed off that they had Chris Evans voice Buzz Lightyear instead of Tim Allen when it's supposed to be a Tim Allen, like the movie that the toy is inspired from? You had better believe it. But am I going to complain about it? Yes. Am I ever going to be a person that says, well, this was a good movie, I respect it? No, because it wasn't. It depends upon which side of the spectrum you're going to land on with the fandom. You're either going to be the fan that's going to love it or the fan that's going to hate it. If you hate it, it makes sense. If you love it, it makes sense. If you're the one that's still on the fence where you don't know which side you want to go on, you're watching two sides complain and argue with one another, trying to figure out which side to aid. Do you want to go with the fans that love it and say, yes, this was a good movie or a good show or a good series? Or do you want to go with the side that still says it's garbage like they did from the start? That's the side you have to pick on, one or the other. But there are toxic fandoms out there tremendously. So, all right. I'm having fun here, but like nobody's. There's only like one viewer left according to my counter here. I only have one viewer left. I had like 7 at one point, and I'm down to 1. I must have lost people. I lost people. But I mean, it happens. I get it, but oh yeah, actually here. I forgot. I brought that in here. This is my, like I was saying about Iron Man. I'm an Iron Man nut. Here's my Iron Man flash. I forgot I had it in here. I literally had it sitting right over here. This is my Iron Man flash drive. I love this thing. I absolutely love this thing. Because I forgot I want to move some files over to that then tonight before I shut my laptop off. I want to move some files over. But yes, I love that. I love that flash drive. It's just Iron Man with the repulsor blast. It's really cool. But I mean, there's even toxic fandoms in that too, because you can't really consider them like Marvel or DC. You can't even just lump them in under the Marvel franchise. Because, like, I'll use this one as an example. You have Iron Man versus Ironheart. Which one's better? You have the fandom that loves the original Iron Man, that loves the concept of Iron Man, but then you have the ones that were all for Ironheart. Ironheart is okay, but at the same time, it's not perfect. There's that. There's even toxic fandoms with Doctor Who. I mean, let's think about it. Doctor Who is a show that has been on the air not even on the air for the amount of time either, because it was off the grid from like the late 80s to the early 2000s. It was off the grid. All they had was the audio publications that were going out in the books. But you have a fandom in Doctor Who. Now, Doctor Who is in itself a juggernaut. And how many people for years were clamoring to get a female doctor? And we did, with Jodie Whittaker as the 13th. Here's the problem. She wasn't good. Now, am I saying that the series tanked because of her? No, it didn't. The series tanked because of the writing. Her character, her version and incarnation of the Doctor wasn't the best. I was in the fandom and I was in the group that wanted a female doctor. Don't get me wrong. The problem is, I felt like they could have found somebody better and not just taken the first person that the showrunner wanted and basically demanded they have. I like the idea of having a female doctor because Gallifreyans can technically regenerate into anything. Prime examples of this are, even when Matt Smith regenerated from David Tennant, he goes, okay, 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 legs, nose, eyes, hair. Okay. He was concerned that he was going to get a regeneration to like a monster or a beast or an alien, like 4 arms, no legs, a hover chair. It varies what you're going to get. Regeneration is a gamble. You could technically become any being in the galaxy in a way. So knowing that the Gallifreyans could technically change into anything, it does open the possibility for a majority of different aspects. Now, do I want them to do that? No. I don't think anybody really wants them to go gung-ho into the world saying, oh, well, this incarnation of Doctor Who is going to be a 5,000-year-old alien that the Doctor saved a long, long time ago. It's like a blue Smurf-like creature. No, because that's going to be bad for the fandom. The fans are just going to throw a bitch fit about it, and they're going to be upset. And I get that. But at the same time, we want something different than it's a guy and a guy. Oh, look, it's another guy. It's all we had for 12 regenerations. We had the original one, which was William Hartnell. We had Patrick Troughton. We had John Pertwee. We had Tom Baker. We had Peter Davison. We had Colin Baker. We had Sylvester McCoy. We had Paul McGannon. We had Christopher Eccleston. We had David Tennant, Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi, and then we had Jodie Whittaker. We finally got a change in it with number 13. But even the spin-off and offshoots were still guys. So you had the War Doctor, which was played by John Hurt, was technically male. So the Doctor always stayed on one side of the spectrum. Opening up the possibility, let's change up the spectrum a bit, is what the fans wanted. Just give a different aspect of this for even a one-shot or something. I think if they would have gotten it like in a Big Finish audio production or in a book, they would have been satisfied. But we got an entire reincarnation. My problem with that fandom and with that entire regeneration cycle was that she was not good. She sucked as a companion. She sucked as a doctor, basically. I thought her doctor was just annoying, uppity, and a know-it-all. Like, she wouldn't shut up for 5 seconds so that you could explain the problem so she could try to help. She tried to figure it out within 3 seconds and still wouldn't shut up. That was my issue with that incarnation. So, which side of the spectrum would I fall on? I would fall on the side that just did not like what happened. That it's like, okay, so this incarnation blows. But am I going to badmouth and chastise the entire series for it? No. It's just the writing for that particular Doctor could have been really good. It's just, okay, we have a horrible person playing the Doctor. That's not our fault. That's not something that we, the fans, can control. That came from the executives. That came from the higher-ups. They gave the green light for the script to be written like this. It's not our fault. We can't do anything to change that. Whereas here's something that we can control in the form of how we perceive it. And we perceived it. We hated it. The ratings and the views showed that. This is why, I swear that's kind of why they brought back David Tennant, was to appease the pissed off fandom, to basically turn them from staying toxic. Like, okay, we get it. You're pissed. You're mad. You're annoyed. Let us change this for you to try to give you a more sense of calming in a way. And it's working to a point, but not tremendously, because now we have David Tennant for 3 specials, and then we're going to get Ncuti Gatwa for the rest of his incarnation as the 14th Doctor. So we're trading one idea to appease the fans, just to go back and hopefully have better writing, a better idea of what's coming, but still no guarantees. Because keep in mind, the damage is done with certain aspects. It doesn't matter. I mean, you could look at the Transformers franchise. When Michael Bay did the first 2 movies, they were really good. I will not lie about that. The original Transformers movie was not bad. I thought it was really good. And Revenge of the Fallen was good. Dark of the Moon was where the cracks started coming through. and the fans were getting pissed off. Basically, they wanted no more Transformers after Dark of the Moon. We get how many more movies after that? And the fans are looking at this like, why are you butchering a franchise that you just keep running into the ground? With Doctor Who, it's the same thing. So they're still toxic fandoms regardless. It's just sometimes the toxicity will go down and then it will rise back up. It just depends on how we see it and how we perceive it. That's what we have to understand. But otherwise, it happens, unfortunately. It's sadly a thing of life. Toxic fandoms will always be around. It's just what it is, basically. But yeah. All right, anybody out there yet? Feel free to chat away in the chat box. I have nothing left to say. I do have to get my charger though. Oh, we're running out of power here again. I got 44%. Hour and 3 minutes left on my battery, so I better get my charger. Better grab my surge protector. Are we talking little Yugi or are we talking a Tem? Because there's no way I'm beating a Tem. The power of the Millennium Puzzle will grant him, honestly, it will grant him the power of MacGuffin, where he could basically win. Oh, both. Oh, I'm screwed either way. If like the fate of the world isn't at hand, probably depending on what cards we're using. If we're going like Battle City rules, probably. If we're talking original, if we're okay, so if it's Duelist Kingdom rules, definitely, because it's just pull out the stronger card, to have the better traps, and have the better spells. There's no having to sacrifice a monster. You can't attack directly, so it's basically destroy monster, beat monster, destroy monster. It's basically a back and forth to see who can survive the longest. Battle City rules, maybe, depending on if he has the Egyptian God cards and what cards I have. Post Battle City, I'll say Waking the Dragons, maybe, maybe not. Millennium World arc and the final thing, probably no. Dark Side of Dimensions, God no. If Yugi was basically going toe-to-toe with Kaiba, mind you, with his magician girls and stuff like that, I'm not beating him. I'm happy with my deck. I'm okay with my deck. Yes, I do Xyz summoning. Yes, I can do fusion summoning, and I can do synchro summoning. I do have a couple link monsters I could throw in by replacing a few cards. So I could do link summoning, but do I think I can beat Yugi? No. Like I will honestly say no. Would I have fun trying? You bet your ass. I'll take him on, but I'm not beating him, but I'll take him on. I will sure try my best. Like, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I will try my best. I don't think I'm going to win, but I'll try. Agumon. Well, wait, it would actually depend on which season we're talking about. Because I liked Agumon in the original series. So, like, Adventure 1, I liked Agumon. Adventure 2, which was the second season, which had Davis in them, I actually liked Imperial Dramon. I actually wasn't a huge fan of season 3, especially would have been Tamers, but I would probably say Itmon and Beelzemon would be my favorite. With Frontier, which actually was my favorite, Agunimon's evolution. So basically Agunimon, Burning Greymon, Apollomon, or I think it was Apollo. No, it wasn't Apollomon. I don't know, whatever his fusion thing was, where his beast and human spirits fused, and Emperor Greymon was my all-time favorite. I loved that character. That was the best evolution ever. I'd even say Susanomon too, but I definitely liked Emperor Greymon. I think was like the highest I liked. For I actually did not like what was the one that was after that? Oh, Data Squad was after that. I did not like Data Squad at all. Like, I hated it entirely. I couldn't even finish watching it, but not really any of them. With Fusion, I actually did like Shoutmon's evolutions. Those were really cool. I did like Leomon too, like Leomon and Saber Leomon. In fact, I actually wait, hold on. Actually, I'm sure I have that right over here yet. Hold on. She should be in here. I actually do have a couple of Digimon cards. Let's see here. Yeah, Yugi has. Well, technically, Yugi's Millennium Puzzle actually can grant him victory in dire circumstances, provided he actually listens to the Millennium Puzzle. It was shown in like the only duels he actually lost were against Kaiba. Well, technically, he lost against Pegasus the first time, but the timer ran out, so it was a draw. Nobody won. He lost against Seto Kaiba because Kaiba was threatening to kill himself by jumping off the castle with the explosion. So Lil Yugi had to take over and stop Atem, and he lost against Raphael. So technically, the Millennium Puzzle will grant victory. That's the thing. It will give victory depending upon what's happening, but that's just it. It depends upon what happens. So, like, if let's say that I have the Millennium Puzzle, if I'm trying to win, it will grant me a boost of luck. I had like an entire book that kind of explained a lot of the Millennium items, but yeah, plot armor aside, yeah, he had plot armor. It's Mr. Mime time. I'd have to think about which episode that was. Hold on a sec. Let me pull that up. Let me why he was screaming actually. It's Mr. Mime. I have to pull that one up quick to check that. It is if that was like the original series, it has been a while since I saw that one. Well, probably because he was just terrified, I guess. I really don't. Honestly, I don't know, to be honest. But no. I actually still have from the original starter deck my Saber Leomon card. I still have this yet. Because I did like Leomon and Saber Leomon, but I do actually still have Saber Leomon yet from the original starter deck. And I also have this, which I traded an old classmate of mine for years ago. Those are my two favorite cards. I did have an Imperial Dramon Palladium mode, but I sold that like really, really cheap. But yeah, I hold on to those yet. It's in my little it's in my little strange book here. My little black book, which does not have anything actually written in it. I tore those pages out. So yeah, it's just my little black book. Could be. He might have realized he's becoming a Pokemon and fearful of what might happen to him, that he might become Dittoed. And if you get that joke, you've either played Pokemon too much or you know the joke of what happens to Dittos and what they're only good for. I don't think she was a bully to Naruto. I think it was more of she was just a little annoyed with them, more so than anything else. Like, she really wanted him to just actually act his age and act like an actual ninja and not act like a child and an idiot, and he just didn't do that. Because you got to remember, there were people that really wanted Naruto and Sakura together, and they were pissed when they found out that it was Naruto and Hinata that got together. I was all for the Naruto and Hinata. I was hands down for that one. I was like, nope, Naruto and Hinata, that's perfect. I love it. I the last Naruto the movie I love with a passion. But yes, I was all for Naruto and Hinata getting together. There we go. I cracked my neck. It feels better. Ugh. I had to crack my neck. Don't get old, boys and girls. It does hurt. It does become a pain in the neck. Then again, so does having a job where you have to do this all damn day, because then it will hurt. But so happy that my old when I worked at Five Below, I'm so happy they still had these, and I went and bought one. It's a little massager, and I do love this thing. It has been helping a lot, especially with neck pain. Oh, has it been helping with the neck pain? Oh, it's been helping with the neck pain a lot. Oh, that's good. I think she bullied Brock more than she bullied Ash. With Ash, she was more. She really wanted. She just wanted her bike back, and Ash just kind of screwed her. But I don't think she bullied Ash. More so, she was more like an older sister in a way. I think she did more bullying to Brock than she did to Ash, to be completely and totally honest. She did way more bullying to Brock than she did to Ash. That's what it needs to. Well, I will admit, I still did not like how they wrote Misty off the first time around. I thought that was really horrible. Her song was nice, but it just felt so gut wrenching that after traveling through 3 different regions, she leaves. I'm like, what? Why was she leaving after 3 regions? She went with him in Kanto, she was with him in the Orange Islands, and she was with him in Johto, and now she's leaving at the end of Johto. Then she comes back in Hoenn one time for like a 2-episode stint. And we see her off and on then throughout the rest of the franchise until she came back for like the final couple episodes where her and Brock were traveling with him again. It's like, we're just going to find him and hang out with him for a little bit. It's like, why? Because the fans are really upset that this series is ending. Yeah, I was pissed off at that ending. If you want my honest opinion on it, I thought the ending for Pokemon was horrible. Flat out horrible. Yes, Ash finally realized that there's more to being a master of Pokemon than just being the champion. No duh. I could have told you that. Anyone could have told you that. I'm pretty sure the person you beat to become the champion could have told you that. But it took you having to sit through all of this to come to that realization yourself of there's more to being champion than just having this. To be fair, I never saw Ichigo and Rukia together. I did not think that was good, that would have worked out. I liked him getting with Orihime because, and it showed. It definitely showed. Okay, so yes, Ichigo did go to the Soul Society to rescue Rukia, but he didn't go to the Soul Society solely to rescue Rukia. He went to the Soul Society to get payback for getting his ass whooped against Byakuya. That's pretty much the main reason he went to the Soul Society. He wanted payback. With Rukia, that was just an added bonus of, oh yeah, I gotta save her too. But when Renji's like, I'm gonna save Rukia, Ichigo's like, okay, that's cool. You save her. I'm gonna train to take out Byakuya. Okay. With Orihime, though, first off, Ichigo did his damnedest to protect her. Even when her brother, the Hollow, came and was trying to, I don't know what his plan was, but even when that happened, Ichigo was still protecting her. When the Arankar showed up, Ichigo was protecting her. When she left with them to Hueco Mundo, Ichigo, she basically went to him. She went to everybody, but he was the one that she went to last and thanked him and then left. He went to basically save her. Opposed to Rukia, who he just went to the Soul Society to get payback, saving her was just a It's like, it's just like an idea, but I'm really going here to just get payback. With Orihime, he was going to save her come hell or high water. I mean, he knew what Aizen was planning to do. He knew about all of that Aizen crap. It's just, I'm gonna go save Orihime. He could have given two craps about Aizen. His main focus was saving Orihime, which is where it was. That's why he took on Grimjow. That's why he took on Ukiura. That was why he took on the Arankars. He was not going to stop until he had her safe. And the key moment in this that proved it, beyond a shadow of a doubt, was when, after he had the hole blown into his chest by Ukiura, and you had Uryu fighting him, and Orihime's trying her damnedest to heal him, he basically goes, she needs you. Get up. Get up. You have to help her. You need to save her. And that's what triggered his hollow side to completely take over and hollowify him so that he could fight on a whole new level. Because once he did that, he mopped the floor with Ukiura, because it wasn't so much the power of hollowification. It was the power of hollowification with a purpose. Like his hollow mask had come on multiple times before when he was, on the brink of death. But this time it was a full-on hollowification, but he still retained his sanity. It was still there. But him and Orihime, I was with 100%. Even with Naruto and Hinata, because Naruto, he was oblivious to it for the longest time, and that's the kind of thing that they were pointing out. But oh no, I was so for Orihime and Ichigo. Hey Chuck, welcome to the video. Well, to be fair, that would be all the My Hero Academia fan base, unfortunately, because they're all uppity about Deku having all the powers. He's now like the anime Superman. How you have All Might was basically just an overglorified Captain America. Now there's actually a character called Stars and Stripe. But yeah, the Rick and Morty fan base, definitely toxic as all hell. PlayStation fanboy. Okay, I can buy that one. Well, to be fair, the wrestling community, they look, they can complain all they want, but wrestling's fake. And the Loud House, yeah, I agree with all that. Charger on here, because I know that I'm probably down to like, yeah, I was right at 32%. Yes, Common, I do have action figures. I have an Iron Man one. I have a bunch of 3 3/4-inch Iron Man figures. Most of them were from Iron Man 2, save for I got 2 of them from Iron Man 3, which don't. This is what pissed me off with Iron Man 3. Iron Man 2's figures had the moving elbow, like the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, the legs, the ankles, all that stuff moved. With Iron Man 3, and you could do that. That was it. That was the extent of, you can move the head. That was the extent of the movement. And not even all those, because there's one that I got that literally just goes like this. It's like the old Bandai Power Ranger toys. I was like, that's crap. I was really pissed off at that. I still have some Transformers. Majority of my action figures are like up on the second floor yet, scattered around, and probably in pieces and other junk too, but yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes, the Teen Titans Go franchise is their fandom is toxic as crap. Then again, the Teen Titans Go fandom love it, and the rest of us that hate it. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I like too, but I'm not like a fan of everything. Like, I'm not going to say I'm a diehard Rick and Morty fan. Do I like the series? To a point. Do I think the concept is cool? Yes. Do I think it went downhill? Oh, big time. Am I going to badmouth it if it pisses me off? Yes. That has been common. That has been a question that has been posed by many people before and will be posed by many after and yet to come. What if Goku married Bulma? For starters, he wouldn't have to be quote the devil working all the damn time. Like he would not be a farmer. Oh, he would not be a farmer. But to be fair, remember Bulma was 16 when she met Goku, who was 5. I don't care what the legalities are in Japan from prefecture to prefecture. That shit ain't happening. Okay. You were not going to tell me that it's 11 years her younger. Sorry. But oh yeah, no. The whole thing would be completely different. Like you would have well, the series doesn't have any writers right now because the writers are on strike. The Writers Guild went on strike this week, so nobody has writers right now. It needs writers because they have no writers right now. So we're gonna have a lot more game shows coming up. I should pitch mine to a network and go, hey, I have a great idea for a game show. I want to host it. It's called Connect the Dots. You ask them questions. Each one allows them a point to connect the dots, and they have to make sure that they get it right. It would have never worked that way because Kagome was too much like Inuyasha's first love. I can't think. The thing is, I watched that show a lot when I was in high school because Adult Swim had it on, and I cannot think of what her name was. But yes, it would have. It was never set up to go the other way. Roko because he creeped. I think his weirdness just kind of rubbed off on her. But Kagome was far too much like Inuyasha, just kind of rubbed off on her. But Kagome was far too much like Inuyasha's first love, so it was basically that was her reincarnation. And then you have Kagome from the modern. Why she chose to stay there instead of just dragging his sorry butt into the real world? No, never mind. Actually, does body. Good luck explaining to the census why you're not a child now, or where I went. That would have been more fun. But yes. I have seen clips of Devil May Cry. I have not actually. Again, if okay, we're solely going to like a what if scenario here because I can say for a doubt, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it would never have been done that way because Minnie Mouse was literally created to be Mickey Mouse's alternate. God no. I don't think Daisy would have handled Mickey in any way, shape, or form, and Minnie would never was. If I remember reading something like years ago about how Minnie Mouse came to be. Later at Disney, that just for shits and giggles was screwing with the idea of, hey, what if Mickey Mouse wore a dress and had a bow, on his head, and they're like, well, that would be a totally different character. No, it would still be Mickey Mouse. That would make a really good person for Mickey to be with. It's like, yeah, okay, because there's an entire Adult Swim thing too about it. Remember when Goofy wanted to get with Clarabelle? You know, there was that House of Mouse, basically. I thought that was kind of there's like an entire robot chicken thing for that. There's like an entire robot chicken thing for that, but they would have honestly, it would have never worked. It would have been like oil and water. I actually do, Chuck. I do like body swap type episodes because they open up a whole different aspect of the world. Um, so you have in Space had one where Ashley's there was a Go Kaiser episode and Mika swap bodies. Or no, Luca, that was her name, Luca Milfi, where they swapped bodies. That was a good one. But those are often really interesting episodes because you're seeing it from a totally different aspect. So, and the thing is, the actor has to play off of how the other actor does. So, a prime example, let's say you have a person that you're doing a body swap episode. So that person, that actor or actress has to basically act like the other character would, which is a complete and total opposite from how they would normally act. And they have to act like that, thinking that, okay, how am I going to do this? It's kind of an interesting thing, but still at the same time, it's really good and funny to see. It really is. But yes, I do like those types of episodes. I'm pretty sure the Warner Brothers Corporation would not allow that to happen. Like in any way, shape, or form. You gotta remember when Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out, they had to bend, not break, mind you, not break. They had to bend a crap ton of, and I mean a crap ton of copyright law to get that movie greenlit. Because you had throw those socks up there quick so I don't knock them off and I don't forget that they're there. So I don't knock them off and I don't forget that they're there. They had to bend a lot of for that. So that would never happen. Never happen. TV in one room and I was watching TV in another room. If she tuned into the same channel that I was watching, she could see what I was doing through the TV. That was one of the silliest things that I did as a kid. I was like not sure exactly how television worked back then, but I would later come to learn after watching Beakman's World. But I did like a lot of weird and stupid things, and I got in trouble. So trust me, sorry, I gotta blow my nose quick. And this is, believe it or not, I've actually been making an observation on this because I've been watching a lot of One Piece videos, some Avatar videos, and things like that lately. Mostly Avatar to help me try to get in a better space mentally. But Luffy is the one person in the world that I think Nami would not bully, mostly because she respects the hell out of him. Because when he saw her, when they went to take on Arlong, he gave her his hat. Up until that point, he would not let anyone touch that hat. She is the only person that can touch that hat as far as Luffy's concerned, and he will not flip out on them. She sewed Ace's concerned, and he will not flip out on them. She sewed Ace's Viver card onto it, held the hat. Like, he literally took it off, put it on her head, and just gave this look like he freed her from her prison in her mind and her night in that entire world that would not in any way, shape, or form ever, as far as Luffy's concerned. He will 100% like her. And yeah, do I think she bullies him? No. Because he's honestly the one person that she highly respects. Like, of the most despicable members of the Beast Pirates to basically say that Luffy will be the king of the pirates. She has, like, as far as ability goes, she's got no fighting skills whatsoever. And she stood up against two hardcore members of the Beast Pirates. Like, my captain's going to kick your captain's ass, and we're going to sail away. I don't think she bullies him. Not in the least. In all honesty, if I were a pirate, I would just find an island, sail to it, and just like go around and I would be a good pirate. Like, I'm not going to rob and plunder you, but I'm just gonna weasel you out of your stuff. That would be the type of pirate that I would be. It's like I'm not gonna go and steal your crap. I'm just gonna weasel it out away from you. It's like I'm not gonna go and steal your crap. That's actually a good question. I think both are really good, but she is not good in a fight. Like she can barely hold her own in a fight. She has to out or the only opponent agent, couple of one-off characters. She's not a threat and been able to hold her own. So that's one that I kind of feel like she wouldn't be good. I'm gonna lean toward Ash and Misty in a way. Yeah, pretty much like Feather Sword time. I'm gonna get it. I'm just gonna weasel you out of it. I'm not gonna just. I'm not gonna up. I gotta. I really have to change. Move my bed over to here so that I can have my table here and I can bring my chair down and I can sit my chair down and I can sit my chair again because my back's starting to really hurt. If I could sit in my chair, I'd be good, but I can't. I don't have any room for my chair. I have to clean this place. I gotta like probably move my bed over this way if I want to shift it, and I could probably bring my chair if I want to shift it, and I could probably bring my chair to that. Ah. Plus, if I do, that, I feel that I have to measure to make sure that I can still get my dresser drawers open. Otherwise, I won't be able to get my clothes out. I actually got myself to eat in the afternoon, but also because I just wanted some oatmeal cookies. And I love how it's like 2 cookies, not going to cut it. Because I'm like, look, I'm literally eating these just if I can. I know I'm not going to be able to, but yes, I do like eating cookies. I really do. I love eating cookies. Oatmeal cookies, oatmeal Oh, you used to get there's a company called Grandma's. I loved their oatmeal cookies. They used to be, I'm not even joking. The cookie was the size of my palm, entire hand here. I loved, loved forgot that's up for free on YouTube. I could have watched that today. My mom, I was gonna watch Brian unless you see without being signed in because it's rated. There's a lot of like from that movie. I only saw it one time though so far. I've only seen it once and only once. Don't. I really, really don't. I don't know what. Just out of curiosity, I'm actually wondering this, and I'm curious if it's different than last week's. I'm just curious if it's actually better this. I have to. Oh yeah, I got to do my Japanese lesson yet tonight, and I got to do my journaling, and I got to do my. And I got to watch One Piece 2 yet tonight. Damn it! There's a lot I got to do yet tonight. Ooh, that's a good. I would actually have to as a kid was, but there's a few that will narrow it down a bit. But I like I said, really hoping this therapy works. Therapy works because it's starting to hurt a little bit when I do it. Here's like there's a whole bunch. So it would depend on which series was my very first one that I ever watched. I actually kind of narrow it down to Samurai Pizza Cats, but knowing my luck, there was probably one that I saw before that that probably was an anime, but in my mind, I labeled it as a cartoon, which, though, keep in mind, like I said, I also never actually thought of an interesting series. But yeah, I actually hated it at first. Yes, I have seen Fairy Tale. Like bits and pieces of it, and I have never watched it from start to finish, but I have seen Fairy Tale. I did like a series that Toonami had on though called Mar. I thought that was really good, but I don't know. No, I did not see a Chaplin film. I have never seen one. Yes, it does. And I talked about on the Absolutely Completely Random podcast. I said it looks like hamsters a humping. But yeah, there are a few. Yeah, a lot of notifications. And I had a lot of notifications. Know if I was gonna be able to keep it or not. But oh yeah. Screw tarot cards. Sorry, I'm quick checking my email because I put in some job applications and I wanted to see if any of them came back. But oh yeah, Mara is completely underrated. I remember Toonami had it for like about a month or two, and the last episode I remember seeing was the character that was the dog for most of the time and it could spend like 3 days as an actual human had a gateway open for them to train in so they could get stronger. And that was like the last episode I remember watching. And I was just like, okay, this is really cool. How the hell does this end? And I have never bothered to look up how it ended. Like, I have no clue. But I remember watching Mar, and I thought that was really good. I also remember Shinzo. Like I said in the opening, like way back, like an hour, almost 2 hours ago, I said for Shinzo. I just watched oh god, I think it was Jordan Fringe's video on Spider Riders. I just watched that this week. I literally just watched that this week. Um God, yeah, I do. I remember watching Spider Riders. That was on Kids WBB. I remember watching that. Though I will agree with the majority of people that I kind of feel like I was not the target audience. Like I was not the target audience for it, but I do remember watching Fighting Foodons on the Fox box. I remember the intro for that. When hell freezes over. Mostly because I don't think they're compatible for one another. It's that I'm the princess, you're the little kid in green that I call for help every like now and then. So I kind of feel like there's a I don't want your help, but at the same time I want your help sort of deal. And that's kind of where I feel like no, I remember watching the Fighting Foodons on Fox Box. That was a really good thing. Hi Isaac. Do my Duolingo lesson yet tonight, and I have to do my journaling yet. And I still have to get my evening exercise in. So you kinda got here a little late to the party, but you could always rewatch the stream, which is a good thing. just honestly wishing I could start my transition though right now because I kind of feel really good, and I'm still trying to figure out how my what my test results are, but I don't understand the medical jargon from the lab test I had to have. So that kind of sucks. Now that's actually a good question that I have. Does anybody remember Fighting Foodons? That was a weird anime that was on the Fox box. I still remember that intro. Like every Saturday morning I was watching that. I was like, this is a weird show. And I found it. You never see, oh my god. I think it's still up on I'll check. I think it's still up on Tubi yet. So I'm trying to beat a level in Candy Crush again. In case you're wondering. I have to save 10 dragons. We don't really have that many alleys around here. Um, when I was a kid, my mom gave me permission to walk around the local borough when she was doing laundry. So I would walk around so long as I did not get in any trouble, as in where the cops would come to the laundromat and say, Mrs. Rhodes, your child was involved in blah, blah, blah. We'd like to bring it to your attention. We need you to come down to the police station. So long as I didn't do something like that, she was fine with me walking around. But keep in mind, I was in like 6th grade going to middle school when I did that. And I had family members that were just throwing a fit about it. They're like, no, you can't let him walk around, by himself. He's going to get hurt. He's going to get injured. And then you're going to come and blame us. I did not get hurt or injured. I walked around the street, literally on the sidewalk. Eventually, my mom realized, okay, you can cross the street, crosswalks and stuff like that. I did walk up to the local park because she gave me permission to go to the local convenience store, which was about. Hold on, I actually have to try to remember this. Hold on. Okay, it was about 4 to 5 blocks away from the laundromat. She's like, you can go up to the park. You can go to the convenience store. The convenience store was like 3 blocks away, and the park was another 2 blocks past that. She goes, you can go, because I would go walk up to the convenience store, I would get something to drink and maybe like a breakfast thing or something like a Pop-Tart or a cookie, and then I would walk to the park. Then I would walk around the park, go to the little playground there, then I would walk back. And I did that during the summertime. When she would go to the laundromat, I would go with her. Then I stopped going to the laundromat with her, and then I went to then I was in high school, and then I went to tech school. Then when I got out of tech school, I went down with her to the laundromat. And then I got a job, and then when I had like night shifts, I would go down, but yeah, or Tuesday mornings I would go down with her, but yeah, stuff like that. But yes, I have been to playgrounds. I did go to playgrounds as a kid. I want to see if it's still up on here yet. I think Tubi had it. No, okay, I guess Tubi does not have Fighting Foodons anymore. Aww. That was a really good show. Unless you can pull it up on YouTube. I guess I'll pull it up on YouTube. Let me check. If you can still pull it up on YouTube, I would say check it out. But well, they have the opening in English, which is really good. 4Kids opening. Yes. Okay. So you can't find it on YouTube. Some idiot does have it up. So you can pull up Fighting Foodons on YouTube. So I would recommend checking it out. So I wanted to check that because I'm like, wait a minute, somebody has to have that up because that is the obscure series from hell, and it is a good show. But yes, I do remember that. The fun thing is though is that one day I'm gonna come onto this podcast and everybody's gonna be shocked. I'm gonna be completely different. One day. One day that will happen. One day that will happen, and I will be very, 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 very happy. Not this week though. This week I'm doing I need to get over the feelings I had for my friend, and this is my solution of doing so. We just have one more day of this. Hopefully I will be cured. I should have just did a shock collar, but I'd have to hook it up mentally. I actually do have one. So, we did have a local carnival. It was down in the borough. We did have a local carnival. We also had a local fair going down to the other side of the hill. So if you go out my front door and go up to the intersection, you'd go right. That would take you down to the local borough where we usually do laundry. If you would go left, it would take you down to the area where I went to school. The left one, they had a fair. They have it every year. It's in September. I hated it as a kid because the only fun thing there for kids to do were the rides. They did not have any games. There was no no games of chance or anything because it was technically considered a community fair. You could not have any games. They had rides for the kids, but the rides were expensive as hell and the lines were long as hell. And it was a pain in the ass. But the other side, there were games, there were rides. It was a lot more fun. That was a carnival. That was fun. The carnival, I remember going down once. It was a Wednesday. It was dull as hell. It was dead as a doornail. And this one, I think it was like a friend of my mom's. Her daughter and I rode the Ferris wheel like 8 times. Because it's like, we go again. There was nobody in line. We were literally the only people that poor SOB in charge of that ride dealt with the entire day. It's like, I don't care. Went around again. Went around again. Went around again. I think we wrote that like 8 times. We're like, okay, we're done. It's like, sure you don't want to go again? No, we're done. It's like, just there's nothing down there. It was like the worst carnival ever. And I was on a Wednesday. Granted, it picked up like that Friday, but I think they realized, okay, we can't do this on a they're like, okay, we can't do this anymore on a Wednesday. And they kind of made it like a Friday, like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday thing. More so than a Wednesday thing. It's only because they realized Wednesday was a dead day. I'm like, yeah, that was a stupid idea. Like, I was a kid and I said that was a dumb idea. But oh yeah, that was one of my favorite memories. There are a lot of toxic fans. Anime, just pick your poison with the anime. They're all toxic fandoms at this point. There's a lot. It's not all that fun to be on a Ferris wheel. I'm actually afraid of heights, so I really hate Ferris wheels. I love the tilt-a-whirl, though. That is one of my favorite rides to go on because the G-force just sticks you in there and you're stuck. I love those rides. Because I remember I was on one with my uncle and my cousin was shorter than I was. And I'm like, and he's like holding on for dear life, like, you can let go. My uncle's like, no, he can't let go. He's gonna go flying out of this thing. And I'm thinking to myself, gee, my uncle does not understand how centrifugal force works. He's not gonna go flying out of anything. We're literally spinning at like 40 to 50 miles an hour. We are pressed against this. He's not budging off of this. Trust me. Even for the moment where it's kind of like looping, you're going so fast. That moment is like 1 second. You're not going to budge. You're literally stuck. And it's like, I'm thinking to myself, okay. Like years later, because I loved that ride. So like you try moving your arms and it feels like they weigh 100 pounds. And I'm like, I love this. That was so much fun. I love the tilt-a-whirl. And the only place you ever really get I'm going to say it this way, and I apologize to anybody that knows. The ones that they set them up at night and they could have the whole carnival set up in like 6 hours. That is the only place you're ever gonna get the really good tilt-a-whirls. I'm sorry to say it. This is the only good tilt-a-whirls are those ghetto ass carnivals. They really are. TGIF, spending Friday nights with my mom. Right now, pizza Fridays. We do pizza every Friday, which is actually kind of nice. Unless I find another job, in case we might have to change that. But I loved when I was a kid, like my mom would get a snack during the week and we would split it on a Friday night. I could stay up late, watch TV. I loved Friday. Fridays in school, I hated with a passion because Fridays were always idiotic day where everything that could possibly go wrong happened. When I was in sixth grade, one of my classmates actually dug his fingernails into my arm on a Friday. We were playing silent soccer in the one class, and because that was the thing. Fridays were game day, and I was being nice. I was going to hand it to the kids so he wouldn't have to bend down because I remember him saying he was having a headache that day. So like the other three kids would pull me to the ground. The one dug his fingernails into my arm. Like literally, I had fingernail marks embedded in my arm. I was bleeding. And it's like, I was like, oh my God, like that hurt. My mom was a cafeteria aide at the time. And I went to eat lunch. Like we went down then for lunch as we had like one thing we had to do quick in our homeroom. Then we went down for lunch. My mom saw my arm. She's like, "You're going to the nurse." I said, "Can I at least eat my lunch first?" She goes, "Fine, eat your lunch. Then you're going to the nurse." I went to the nurse. All I did was just walk in, have my lunchbox with me. No, because my mom took my lunchbox home, so that way I wouldn't forget it. And I'm like, I go to the nurse and I'm like, she just looks at me. She goes, "Have a seat." She looks at it. She goes, "Okay." She goes, "Hold this on top of it. I will be right back." She went and said something to the assistant. I will be right back. She went and said something to the assistant principal, who then was like, "I would like to talk with him when you are done treating him." And she came back. She disinfected it. She cleaned it with like, I don't remember what exactly she used, but she cleaned it out, wrapped the bandage on it. And it said, "The assistant principal would like to see you." I'm like, oh, great. I had to explain everything that happened. The kid got called down to her office. Now, I was in her office multiple times, and especially in sixth grade, because I got accused of a lot of crap in sixth grade. And I remember the one time I was really not happy being in that office. I got accused. I had no one on my side. I had no one defending me at all. And I basically got railroaded into the ground. And I was not happy at all. I was miserable that entire day. I got railroaded into the ground, threatened with expulsion, and I was not happy at all. And my mom didn't even know what the hell was going on. She showed up for work. She didn't even know I was in the office. And all of a sudden, the assistant principal went down and got her. It's like, "Oh, I have Andy up in my office, and he's in a lot of trouble." And as she came down, I basically burst into tears because at this point, I was given the riot act. I was read the riot act, like a good 10 minutes of it. And the other person's parents, she had it was her parents and her was like, "What in the hell happened?" And the assistant principal wouldn't tell her anything. And my mom was pissed. But when I went into her, and this was before this incident. After that, it's like I'm sitting there and I'm like, he's gonna come down, he's gonna BS this, and then I'm gonna be here and he's gonna be sent back to class. Because whenever it's like if whoever gets called down second, if you're told to stay, then you know you're in trouble. So like if I was be told to stay, I would know I'm in trouble. Then all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, went through the whole thing. Then the assistant principal goes, "Okay, you can go back to class." I'm like, I can go back to class. I can go back to class. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna. All right. I wasn't lying. I was explaining what I was gonna. I said I was being nice, picking up the ball for him. I said I did not realize. I said they pulled me down to the ground, banged my head against the back cabinet, and literally dug the fingernails into my arm. And it's like, okay, I go back to class and I'm treated like a pariah because the other kid got in trouble for something that I should not have done. But yes, that was a fun Friday. I will never forget that Friday. Zack Snyder is a pain in the ass, a horrible person who wants rape in a Batman movie and honestly should be wiped off the face of the earth and thrown onto a private island where he can never bother anyone again or come up with anything. He can write fan fictions to his heart's content. I would do a mic drop, but this is my microphone and I don't want to drop it. Or I would do a mic drop. I'd go, I'd do a mic drop, but no. All right. All right. I think I'm going to cut it here then for this week. This has been a blast. I don't know what to talk about though next week. I don't know what to talk about next week though. Any thoughts on next week's topic? Or should I just make it a round robin where we just talk about whatever anybody wants to talk about? Like you put up a chat thing and I just give my opinions on that. We just do like a round robin. I do not have much to say about that. So that would not be a very long show. Mostly because the only thing I know Josh Whedon from is a one-off joke from The Big Bang Theory about Firefly. I don't know who Craig McCracken is off the top of my head either. The name's familiar, but it's probably familiar for a reason that I'm not sure of, and I probably forgot and or don't care. I can talk. Oh, no. Oh, no. I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do. Okay. The magic coin of fate. This $50 coin that I have here. And just to prove it's a Creator of the Power, of course. I said, I knew the name sounded familiar. Okay. So to prove it's a regular coin, here's the tails. And here's heads. Okay. So next week, I will either talk about music, which will be heads. Honestly, you should just be banned from doing voiceovers. Like, completely. All right. We either talk about music, which is heads, or trading card games, which will be tails. All right, everybody. Take your pick. Is it heads or tails? And I'm keeping my hands right here so I don't look. Heads or tails? Take your pick. I can't do the Jeopardy thing or YouTube will copyright strike me. Okay, we got one vote for tails. Do I hear any votes for heads? I got 4 people watching. Place your bets here, folks. You got a 50-50 shot. Heads or tails? Tails, we talk about trading card games. Heads, we talk about music. Any other choices? I'm going till 14 here. Any other choices? Got tail. I'll go to 14:30. Just I forget there's a delay. Okay, we got 1 tails, 1 heads. 29 seconds left to go. 28. You can't change your vote, Chuck. You said tails. You can't change your vote. You said tails. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bingo. It is tails, ladies and gentlemen. We talk about trading card games next week on the podcast. Next week on the worst podcast ever. We talk about trading card games. That's actually going to be fun. I can't wait. This is going to be fun. All right. Till next week, everybody. You can do it. Yeah, you contradicted yourself. That's true. All right. Night, everybody. Catch you all next week. Bye.